VirtZine. This is VirtZine, the online magazine of virtualization and cloud computing. I'm Dr. Bill Bailey, and I'm glad that you joined us for today's netcast. We're going directly into the blog that is VirtZine, VirtZine.com, as it says there on the screen. Now, this week, first up, we have an article actually from early in September, last month. VMware releases their own version of OpenStack. Now, OpenStack is a technology that is taking the virtualization and cloud computing world by storm. And this is an article from eWeek by Sean Michael Kerner. He says, VMware has been one of the top contributors to the open source OpenStack cloud platform for over the last several years. And now the company is taking the next logical step by announcing its own OpenStack distribution. The new VMware Integrated OpenStack, VIO, VMware likes to do that, put little, 3 or 4 letters to represent the product. VIO offering formally announced at the VMware conference August 25th provides a new option to the increasingly competitive space for OpenStack products and services. Dan Windelant, Director of Project Management for OpenStack at VMware, is helping to lead the new VIO effort. Windelant is a well-known name in OpenStack circles, having helped get the OpenStack Neutron networking project started, originally under the name Quantum back in 2011. In addition to its leadership in OpenStack networking, VMware has made multiple contributions to other areas of OpenStack, including compute and storage, over the years. So this is a big deal, and the fact that VMware has made it a product and supports it directly, you can get actual VMware support for it, is really an important development. So that's one reason I wanted to mention that particular article. Now, the other big news about VMware is that VMware is embracing Docker. This is from September the 16th, and it says that VMware embraces Docker container virtualization. Now, you've heard me talk about Docker and that it's something to watch, something important that we need to pay attention to in the cloud computing and virtualization world. And sure enough, in this article by Sean Michael Kerner from eWeek, it says the open source Docker container virtualization technology has a new ally today. VMware announced a new partnership with Docker, Google, and Pivotal to enable container technology in VMware environments. The news was formally announced at VMworld Conference in a keynote by VMware CEO Pat Gelsinger and discussed as a follow-up press conference, I should say. Among the key value propositions of Docker is that unlike a virtual machine or a VM, hypervisor like VMware's ESX, each application does not require its underlying operating system. It's basically built into it. The hypervisor is built into the application, which is pretty impressive in itself. So the idea that VMware is actually supporting Docker is actually interesting to me on several fronts, because does that undercut their own hypervisor? I'm sure they're not going to do that. But I think they saw the handwriting on the wall and said, man, this Docker technology is something we need to embrace, we need to get behind, and we need to be part of it. So I think it was a good move on their part. I'm just curious as to how it's going to fit into the whole VMware ecostructure, or ecosystem, I should say. So interesting to see how that's going to work out. Now, here's an interesting article that I actually reposted from my other blog, drbill.tv, which I'll put on the screen here, drbill.tv. A little more lighthearted look at technology, but check it out. You'll really enjoy it, I believe. And I reposted from that particular blog an article from ZDNet by Stephen J. Von Nichols, who is a great proponent of Linux. And I love his articles. Read them every time they come out. Really, really excellent information. And here he's talking about that back in 2011, CEO of Red Hat, Jim Whitehurst, told him that the platform as a service cloud would be Red Hat's future. And sure enough, in a blog post, Whitehurst said, right now we're in the midst of a major shift from client server to cloud mobile. It's a once every 20 years kind of change, a paradigm shift, I believe. He didn't say that, I did, I interjected it. But he goes on to say, as history has shown us in the early days of those changes, winners emerged that set the standards for that era. Think Wintel in the client-server arena. We're staring at a huge opportunity, the chance to become the leader in enterprise cloud, much like we were the leader in enterprise open source. And I would say they certainly are the leader in enterprise open source. He goes on to say, the competition is fierce, but companies will have several choices for their cloud needs. The prize is the chance to establish open source as a default source in this next era, and to position Red Hat as the provider of choice for enterprises' entire cloud infrastructure. So a big change coming at Red Hat and through Red Hat for enterprise virtualization. We'll have to watch that pretty closely. So, hope you enjoyed this particular edition of VirtZine. Join us next time. Remember, until then, keep your head in the cloud.